prolific, so gifted. I'm the type that's gon' go get it, no kidding. Breaking down a switch in front of your building. Sitting on the...
Welcome to the first episode of the Mike's On. We're gonna name this episode Three Girls and One Guy.
Right.
I'm Brandon.
Nicole.
I'm Tori.
Amen.
And this is the Mike's On. So let's just go ahead and get into it today. We're gonna talk about a couple of things that we have on our minds. You guys wanna start?
Wait, hold on. Can we talk about why doing this podcast?
Why?
Yeah, because nobody gives a we don't want to know who we are, right? What we're about, what we care about.
I mean, we're doing it because we think our voice is powerful.
Okay, thank you. Yes. We also have all been voiceless before. Felt voiceless, powerless. Speak.
I feel like we all got some...
Felt voiceless, powerless. Speak.
I feel like we all got some...
Because I feel like I have a very strong opinion on certain things, and it's something that a lot of people are afraid to talk about. So I just want to shed light on how I feel on a lot of different subjects throughout, not only through society, but in our community. That's why I want to do the podcast.
Cool.
Super dope.
I feel like we all got opinions and like experiences that's worth sharing and people hearing, and it's great to share it with the world.
Yeah.
What's rocking on, man?
Randomly.
I feel like I was able to get two different dynamics in it. Like, I've seen toxic upbringing in my family, and then I've also seen like very positive upbringings. So it's like I was able to see different sides of it, the family spectrum.
I feel like upbringing has like everything to do with like how you like portray your life and your future. Like the way that you was brought up got everything to do with like how you look at life and like your thought process and how you deal with shit.
So how you live, not portray.
Like both. Like your mindset and your actions and your mindset.
Or perceive life, you mean?
Yeah.
I think that culture also plays a big part in that. Like, every different culture is raised differently. So a family that's more aggressive and it's normal to them. There's some people that aren't raised
Let their
like
kids
that.
run things.
Yeah, the kids that raised differently run wild, let them do certain things. And then there's other more different structured family.
But
And
sometimes
when they see that, they're like, oh, like, what the fuck's going on?
I think a lot of things shape us as people. So like our upbringings, what we saw growing up, even if it wasn't like always in our home, but if it was like at school or at our friend's house, like all those things combined shape us.
Make you like either believe stronger in what you have experienced or like make you go totally opposite.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
You can either like become just like the mom that you resent for having addiction, or you become the opposite and never have a drinking life.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
We kind of talked about it earlier, like us briefly, when we were like, certain things we've never seen in our household versus certain things that we've always seen. Mm-hmm. Like, for example, I've never seen my parents argue. Yeah. Never seen them argue, never seen them fight, never seen my dad call my mom's out of her name, nothing of the sort. Mm-hmm. As I'm growing up, like a kid, I don't realize those are things that help you as a person.
It is. And that
it really is, for sure.
You have to break it for your kids.
The daughter living just like the mother, or the son living just like the father.
And you don't even realize you like your parents until you get older, and you realize the shit you can't stand about your parent or this parent is the shit you can't stand about yourself. And the shit that you actually like, and you be like, oh fuck, like this is where I get this from.
And like on the other hand, I feel like it takes you to become an adult yourself to even like give your parents like a fair like observation and like okay, I understand what you was going through. Absolutely. Like okay, it makes sense now.
You did the best you could.
And at the time where it probably was.
And when you're younger, you don't understand it
at all.
Yeah,
they're superheroes.
They're supposed to. And
but no one is actually.
Oh, I mean, you know what? Looking back at it, I think my mom was definitely a superhero. Our relationship now is like so much better than it was when I was a kid. Even though like we didn't have a bad relationship, I feel like now I can understand her, see the things that she went through, and see why she dealt with them the way she did. Because when I'm going through my stuff, and it's like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. It's like to see her go through the same things that I went through with such grace and different like difference and behaviors than what I would interpret is very powerful.
Makes you appreciate her more.
Oh yeah, and we don't understand the shit that they're telling us when we're younger. That's the biggest thing. I remember always being, I want to be 21, I want to be 25. Yeah. Now I'm there, I'm like, I want to be a kid again. Like, it's you never want to be an adult when you're not an adult. Like, you know what I mean? Like you always want to be like more than what you should be at the time. But when you get there, you're like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, you want the perks that come with being an adult, but you don't want the problems that come with being an adult.
It was crazy. I kind of feel like I'm not an adult sometimes. Like, I always forget to myself, like, I can go anywhere in the world. I can travel. Well, if you have a passport,
I
can
know
go.
you have
I
a
can-
bank account that supports it. It's like all
Yeah.
these things that be
But
like
even like there, for people say, oh, I can't go this and this because I can't afford it. There's always ways around things. Like you just gotta figure it out.
It's
like,
the mindset.
It's the mindset. If you got that mindset, like I'm gonna get to Bora Bora, somewhere stuff,
you
you're
have
good. There's always
you
ways.
set a
There's
goal.
always ways to figure it
Yeah,
out.
you gotta
Like,
set a goal.
and I
make
think
a
that
plan.
there's so many people that have such a small mind of even that comes with your culture and your upbringing that they don't realize there's so much they know.
I feel like they limit themselves.
Yeah.
Because they don't even know that what they know is not all there is in this world. Like
Absolutely.
you can continue to educate yourself and advance in life. But sometimes we be so stuck in the same cycle and mentality
Yeah.
that we can't break from
That's the trauma.
I think
It's
that come
trauma
back to
bond.
upbringing too, though, because it's like if you never seen it, then you don't know.
But
Yeah.
Exactly.
sometimes, no, but that's, I agree, but also I've heard so many stories like this one kid, like, who's lived alone since he was 10, but raised himself right, has never done evil to anyone, like, never,
Mhm.
like, you know, didn't become a horrible person, obviously was human and made mistakes, also no example of knowing God or having anyone to lead him to him,
Mhm.
but he has a relationship and has faith in him, and his
Right.
story is so crazy to me, and it's like some people, some little souls are really special and do things like that just, I sit there and I'm like, I don't know how you did it.
Yeah.
because-
Yeah.
Like I think it is like those like angels
It's-
that
yeah.
God put on earth.
And there's a lot of people that just been through a lot of fucked up shit that they don't want to repeat that cycle.
Mhm.
Or they just look like really great and they're actually really fucked up and we have no idea.
Yeah. And there's a lot of sheep.
a lot.
They call them sheep in wolves' clothing.
Yeah,
Oh,
for
Is that
sure.
what it is?
For
Or
sure.
no, wolves? No, I'm sorry, I'm saying it wrong.
Wolves
Wolves
in
in
sheep's
sheep's clothing.
clothing.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what those are. They're the evil people, but they walk around like angels, and their shit doesn't stink, but it smells the worst of everyone
Girl,
else.
whoa,
Yeah.
what the shit?
No, that's what it really is. Like when it comes down to it, like these people think that they're not bad people, but if no one's telling them, like, hey, you're kind of shitty.
Yeah.
What about conscious though? Because to me, like, I used to think I was shitty when I really wasn't, and I would like feel guilty. But I feel like as a person, as human beings, but as human beings, we all have either a conscience or we don't. And the difference between the people who can do evil and feel no conscience is that they actually enjoy it. It feels good to them to hurt somebody. So it's like you don't have to be told you're wrong to know
Right.
you're wrong. You feel wrong.
Yeah.
It's a natural human instinct
Yeah.
to feel wrong. It's the God in you. And as kids and as children, that's the most prominent time where the God is so present in you because you're innocent. And it's like, I think we're all his children, right? Even the people that I resent or whatever, I think that's his child. So I have to like know at a certain level, like God is there. But it's up to us as humans whether we let God have access there or let the evil and darkness just seep in there and soak there. And it's like once that happens and your conscience is gone, you don't know right from wrong. Or you do and you don't care. You enjoy doing wrong.
Right.
The question. Something that happened, something that your parents did, some dynamic, some way of your upbringing that you were raised that has either affected you positively and negatively that you know you either work on or that you're thankful for. One of each. I'm in first.
Yeah. I grew up seeing my mom like a single mom. She took care of me and my brother. You know, our dads were not like in the picture. And now that I have my own son and I'm a single mom, watching her like take care of us, we never went without. It makes me like just want to do so much for my son. Like I was able to see her like do it and do it like effortlessly,
Gracefully.
you know.
Yeah.
And watching that put me in a better position mentally more than anything to be able to do that now with my son. You know, like be a single mom, take
And be
care
graceful.
of him.
And you probably
And
are
do it
so
effortlessly.
more graceful than you
Yeah,
think you
so-
are.
yeah.
Because your mom had all the moments you have in private
Yeah.
that your son doesn't see.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I didn't see my mom, like I know she probably went through hell and back struggling taking care of two kids. But I never saw that, you know what I'm saying? Like she did the best that she could. And I'm so thankful for that because it made me like so much of a better woman.
I think that's
For
amazing.
sure. Yeah.
I think it's so important what your mom did. That's how you're supposed to protect your kids.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to let
Let them see
hear
the struggle.
see
Yeah.
the struggle, hear
Yeah.
bad words about the other parent,
Yeah.
like you're not supposed to. Let them
Yeah.
like
Be
envision-
kids.
Yeah,
Yeah,
let them be kids and think that their dad or
I
mom
think
is
that's
superheroes and figure
I
it
think
out
that's
on their
something
own.
that a lot of parents lose.
They forget.
They forget that these kids are kids. Granted, no matter how grown they are or how much you think that they know, they're still children.
Yeah.
And kids are like sponges.
Mhm.
They
For sure.
see and they mimic every
Well,
single
they
thing that
resent
we
you
do.
for it eventually.
You know,
Because the
what
parent that's
I'm
vindictive-
saying is at the time, the kids may not like see you or resent you for it, right? But like the little toxic thing, like this nigga ain't shit or fuck,
Yeah,
like things like that gets implanted in kids' brain.
Yeah.
And that's how
They
how
do
you
resent
feel
you
about my
eventually,
mother. That's
though.
how you feel about my father.
Because
Like
the parents, it's always the parents that are vindictive that try to like, especially them. You know, it happens a lot with mothers and fathers do too.
Right.
But mothers who try to make the child hate the father because the father cheated or left, whatever. It's something human. Didn't try to kill you and wasn't trying to kill your child. And even if they were, like, I would just never let you near my kid.
Yeah,
and I'm not
that's
gonna
so
tell my kid till he gets older why.
To do that.
But yeah, it's disgusting because those mothers are always like, I'm the good mom. No, you're not. Because if you actually let your feelings take precedence over what's right for your child.
Right.
If you were such a good mom, you would have never, ever allowed your feelings to come before your child.
Yeah.
So I don't like to hear
I
that.
feel like I had a similar experience to Amy, even though like my mom and my dad like was in my life for like majority of my life. It's just like my mom was the breadwinner, so like she was able like never wanted for nothing, got to experience a great life, got to travel at a young age, and I think it was like a positive experience for me because like even with my daughter, like I was able to like I've been able to see the world, take trips with my daughter, and that's just shit that I want to make sure that I
build experiences with her.
Absolutely, for sure.
That's good.
So we heard those are good things from both of y'all. Now, what's a negative thing that affects?
I mean, I think negatively, my brother had to take on the role of like
Man of the
man of the house.
Mm-hmm.
No, it just made me really value and appreciate a black man. I think sometimes like when your dad's not in your life, it's like the opposite. Like you have like a lot of resentment or hatred.
Definitely.
It made me like value and appreciate a black man to the highest extent because I watched my brother like
not have a childhood,
but have to just be so loving and kind and caring and take me under his wing like I'm his little sister, It was just so beautiful. And now that I'm older, it's like I appreciate men, but the black man so much more because I had that experience with my older brother. Because now that I'm an adult, I realize the sacrifice that he made as
most black men have to do.
Yeah. And in turn, now I have a black son who came from a black man. And even though we're not together and, things happen, I still appreciate the black man.
Right.
I still like have so much love and respect for the black man because even though I didn't have a father figure, I had a great brother who showed me and still shows me to this day, like, black men and men in general are very important.
Oh, yeah.
So important.
And they definitely don't. They definitely don't get the credit that
they deserve. Don't get the credit.
And they can be everything that they deserve to be.
And that's why I feel like even though I'm a single mom or a baby mom, whatever you want to label it, I will never talk down about a man or a black man.
Yeah.
And I saw toxic with my parents, but I didn't see toxic what I saw toxic in my life.
Right.
But I never ever put up with nothing, never saw domestic violence growing up, ever. Literally saw it only like a couple years before it happened to be from my godson's mom when I came to help her get out of a situation I knew nothing about. Right. And I couldn't understand, but I knew if he did that in front of me, that I know nothing about what happens when I'm not there. So I just had to follow her lead and I knew nothing. But I ended up in that situation. And it's like, I thought I had a great life with a father who was a single parent who sacrificed the world for me, who was a superhero, who loved me so much, and that I lived for him. Yeah. Wake up call.
It's not the person that you thought that was.
That was the story I told myself to survive childhood.
Because you don't really know your parents.
Well, no.
You don't really
know. Usually you do know. If
you have an idea. No, you have an idea.
Nah, girl, let me say it. Because sometimes you do. You got a daddy or you got a mama, and they present or they not. You know if they're around or they don't. So I thought my dad was there because he was physically and present and loved me, invested in me, all this stuff, and like lived for me. Right. But when it comes down to if my dad loves me or out of love or out of obligation, or if he did it just to throw shit over my head forever, or if he did it because he wanted to, when it came down to my life, he didn't give a fuck about his child. If you don't call to see if your child's alive or dead and you know that they're being strangled or whatever it is, you don't care if they're in danger. I don't care, like, even if I had a child that was fucking horrible, if that's my baby and it could be happening, even if I found out she's lying, I'll beat her ass. But just in case she's not, I'm gonna save her ass right now. That's my child. That's a parent, So it's like when you have that wake-up call, you don't ever know what can happen to you. I swore I'd never find myself in situations I found myself in.
I'm sure that sounds like it was like difficult to deal with, but it does like sound like that, like you said, like he was there and he was.
He wasn't there. He paid people to be there. We don't have to get into that right now
Right.
because that's a whole other thing. But
Okay.
you ain't gonna tell me my dad is there. Cause trust me, when he wasn't.
I'm only going off what you just
So
said.
how does that change your perspective now? Like seeing your dad, not show up for you.
It wasn't
Not
that.
feeding him.
It's not even about showing up. It was about it broke my heart. My dad broke my heart.
You were disappointed.
No, I was heartbroken. My life shattered. I was just so like, to me, I just didn't understand. And I spent a lot of time trying to repair that relationship, like the last 2.5 years, especially for whatever reason, he felt he was justified in being mad at me and cut me off. And I reached out, I prayed about it, I talked to God about it, because I knew I had to forgive him. I knew that, I got at a certain point, I gave up this idea of what I wanted. I gave up this best friend relationship with a father I never had one with, that was never going to happen with, and that was okay. And I forgave him for doing the best he could with what he knew. Because my dad is not evil, and I know he's just human. But I wanted a relationship with whatever he could give me.
So it was like that negative experience with your dad, was this like a moment, or was it like a span?
Since I was being strangled by my husband, it's been a thing.
so it was like more so like a moment in a lifetime, right?
Nigga, no. It's a saying. Dang. What I'm saying is my dad has been the same person this whole time. But the way I told myself and the way he gaslit me, the way that he made me feel, I believed I deserved whatever he dished my way. So whether he was treating me like crazy, it was like, I didn't even feel nothing about it. It was like, I deserve it because I'm difficult. And I was always living to just make it right, which is why I kept fucking up my life. I was like, it was a sabotage cycle. I mean, he's throwing shit in my face from 15 years ago about nothing we're talking about. And in the middle of a conversation, I'm like, what did you say just then? What are we talking about anymore?
Right.
So it's like, I spent a lot of time trying to make amends, emailing him, calling him, reaching out, apologies after things that weren't my fault, but willing to apologize because I just wanted to have a relationship with him before he dies. Especially after Kobe died. I reached out. That was the first time. I did it up until October of 2021 when my ministry leader at the time finally said, you can stop trying because he's incapable. And it was hurting people's feelings reading what he said. If he wants to come around, I hope he does, and I pray that God will change his heart.
Yeah.
But it didn't change my view on black men or fathers.
I'm glad that it didn't change your view.
mean, no, because I still, I'm grateful that, my dad did what he could. I'm grateful I never needed for nothing. I'm grateful I was a roof over my head. I'm grateful for the food and the clothes and shelter and, the nannies.
And
but
I think sometimes people have, a bad experience with, one person,
and then they
make that a lifelong hatred for a group of people.
I mean, a nigga tried to kill me, but I'm gonna marry a nigga.
Yeah, but it's just because you go through a bad experience with one person doesn't mean that, everyone is gonna be the same.
Yeah, that's the title for everybody.
And it shouldn't let you turn the course of your life or the course of your actions because you had a bad experience.
I don't think it does though. I think
I think it does for a lot of people. No, I think it does.
I think it does. I'm saying, but I think it gives them the excuse. I think they already felt that way before. Because usually women, I hated niggas after I got my ass beat by one. But I had an issue with how niggas used to talk to me before, or the way that they used to degrade me or talk down to me or make me feel as a black woman. Now this nigga has beat my ass. Fuck all niggas. Now I have a reason.
It becomes a clutch and an excuse.
Yeah, it's an
but that's to not heal with your own inner demons and your own problems.
It's always about that.
It's a scapegoat.
It's always that when people say they hate one thing, one race, one gent, whatever it is.
Yeah, but I don't think that's fair though, because you can't take that out on all men.
You can't.
Yes.
No, I don't.
I'm a good nigga.
Right.
You
can't take it out. But
there's
those
a lot of women that just
people.
drag that on into other relationships.
And niggas.
With other men.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's like a coping mechanism too, like a defense mechanism rather.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna protect myself. So before you even get a chance to hurt me, I'm gonna make sure, you feel me? I'm gonna do it to you first, or I'm gonna
because they
put
a
block up before I could even allow you to even give you the chance to see what you're coming with.
You're just angry, because they've been hurt. But yeah, about co-parenting and everybody besides me and you, everybody else.
Yeah, well,
we're
not
parents. My family upbringing was kind of I guess in a way co-parenting, with my stepdad. I guess kind of. Through 7, it was just me and my mom for the long period of time. Side note: my mom left my daddy. But okay, so my mom left my you know what I'm saying. My mom left my dad or whatever because of the situation that he was in, and for the longest it was just her. And then my stepdad came around, and he's been in my life ever since I was 7 years old. So he really stepped up and took that role. As far as like when it comes to co-parenting, I feel like there's a lot of times where step parents take on that role, and we don't see that at the time, because being a step parent and stepping up into that zone is a lot. There's a lot that comes with it, especially if the kids aren't like accepting of what's the changes that are going to be going on.
Because it depends on the age.
That's a step parent's supposed to that's their job, is to be understanding.
But it's hard though. It's hard though, because I remember like having my stepdad there, and my stepdad would do like a lot of stuff for us. Like he would take us shopping. He would spend time with us. I remember my stepdad, he combed my hair one time, man. My shit looked crazy. But like he tried. Yeah. You know what I mean? But for me as a kid, I still like, I remember those moments, and I love those moments, and I forever love him for those moments. But a part of me was still like, where's my dad?
Right.
Where's my dad? I want my dad here. And then when I grew up and I was able to like meet my real father,
you were like, it's okay.
My dad for the first time that I can actually recall in prison. Like, and like to see him like in that way, it was just like, wow.
So up until that point, like, was it like zero communication with your real dad?
My dad reached out to me when I turned 18. Yeah, he tried to reach out to me a couple times when I turned 18.
Was like, nah.
No, my mom.
She never tried.
My mom never. Before? He never tried before.
Why?
I don't know. I never asked him why. I never wanted to know why. For the longest, when I turned 16, I went online and figured out what my dad did. Like I never knew. My mom never told me. And when I seen the things that he did, it broke my heart. And
do you mind sharing those things?
Yeah. So when I looked up online to see what my dad did, cause I mean, granted, he's in federal prison, so I can't really like talk to him the way I want to because of where he's at. Right. But the things that I saw online is that he went to jail for torture, kidnapping, murder, and it's like, damn, that's the kind of shit you be on. Like,
if you don't live that life of being in the streets, you don't really know a lot about it.
Exactly.
But
survival.
You can't really say and talk and do a lot of things. Your back is against the wall, so I wouldn't write my dad off. And say he did all these things without having real facts.
And it's crazy. And it's crazy because like how you said, like you don't know if a lot of people did these things. They actually found out that whoever prosecuted him was implanting evidence on people. Like a lot of his cases have been overturned. So I really haven't went into detail with him on like how it's going and stuff like that. But the last time me and my dad did talk, he said that he was going to be fighting this case. So I mean,
that's dope. And I think it's always good to have an open mind. Be open-minded to anything.
I just think I'm at the point where I just don't care to have a relationship. Like, it's not that I don't want to have a relationship. I just don't feel like I'm in the space within my life where I want you to even bother, like, you know.
Well, you only get, at the end of the day, you know, you only get one dad and one mom biologically. And if you have them around or at all, like, I'll take my dad whatever he can give me, even if it's like.
But I just feel like my stepdad is my father. But like that's, I'm like the love that I have for my stepfather was built, and it was time, it was energy, it was money, it was effort, investment, bringing me around your family. And I can honestly say this, and it's tripped me out because I'm 29 and I've been around my dad for a long time. No one in my father's family knew that I was his stepdaughter, and that's how deep it goes. They recently just found out that I was his stepchild.
That's love for real.
You know what I mean? Like, people don't get to experience
your father will never replace your dad.
Right.
But I'm saying that, like, he's not going to be a father figure anyways. Where was he for the last, almost 8 years? You're a grown-ass woman. But you could be friendly-ish, or build to know him, get to know him however way you can.
When he calls, I'll answer. But as far as, like, I went out of my way already, and it was disheartening and disappointing. So for me to want to go out of my way again, it's like,
why would you?
I would rather not.
You're right.
Like, so.
He'll call if he's smart.
I mean, he calls for Christmas, he calls for my birthday, and he calls for his birthday.
That was going to be my question. Like, how often do y'all communicate?
He calls for his birthday?
He calls for his birthday.
What you got for me?
Me and my real father talk, I want to say once or twice a year. Once or twice a year, Me and my stepdad, we talk maybe...
Once or twice a week?
We talk every 2 weeks, 2-3 weeks.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Well, my dad has passed away for 4 years now, and we was hella close, and it's not nothing that I wouldn't do to have a conversation with my daddy.
Yeah.
He'd be proud of you.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure.
How has like your dad raising you and your upbringing like affected you as like a parent now, like being a father?
I was like, me? I was like, I don't know.
Well, my dad is growing up. My dad was like as so present in my life that he was like everybody else's dad too. Like, you know, like youth sports and shit. Like my friends that played on the team that didn't have daddies. Like, you know, we picking them up before practice, taking them home after practice. He cussing their ass out just like he cussed me out.
Yeah.
And I just think I'm like the same way. Like, you know, like I don't know a kid that don't love me. Like, you know, I know kids that have daddies that like rather tell me their secrets. Like, oh, I can't tell my daddy this, but I'll tell you. Yeah. Understanding, like, you know.
Or you're easy to talk to.
I think
I
I love parents like that make their kids friends or their like whoever kids that are around them a part of what they're doing.
Their family.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't like those parents that are like selfish.
But you can tell when a kid is lacking something.
For sure. And everybody need love.
Their children,
kids need love.
Yeah. Oh no,
They
definitely
feel wanted.
Yeah.
You can tell when they're feeling neglected, whether it's intentional or not, and they have a great home and it's just like in the middle of like a bad time for their parents. You invite them to stay for dinner.
For sure. For sure.
You know, because that's also important to your kid too.
Absolutely.
All kids deserve.
Want to talk about your co-parenting dynamic?
She said, "Wow." I mean,
I'm interested.
Why not?
I mean, because he talked about his, and it's like
it started off horrible. Started off real shitty. And
how old is it today?
How old is your son?
Amazing now. He's 7.
Okay.
So me and his dad were together for like 6, almost 7 years, and you know it was just not a good situation. We just were not meant for each other. We got together young, and I always say like now looking back on the relationship, had we done it different at another time, it probably would have really worked. But we were so young, so immature, so
don't know
naive.
how to do life.
Yeah.
And it just, you know, it just didn't work out. And I feel like it's okay because sometimes things are not meant to be forever. And in the beginning of us splitting and trying to co-parent, it wasn't working out because I feel like, to be fair, this is my thought, so I'm not saying this is facts, but to be fair, I feel like my son's dad might have still wanted a relationship, and I wasn't at that point. Like, I was just over it, so I think that's why we couldn't really co-parent, because I think he wanted something different from the situation.
That definitely dictates a lot.
Yeah, always how it goes.
And he probably would have a different perspective. So
Well,
I don't want to
it's
just
true.
say that.
Yeah, no, it's definitely true.
It's always
but,
there.
you know, that's what I thought at the time. But
still do.
a year later of the back and forth, and there was drama, whatever. Now we're in a really good place because I think we've grown. Like, we've grown so much, and we both now realize that our son is the most important thing to both of us.
Yeah.
And I think, there's a lot of things that I'm sure my son's dad would say about me and like what I could have done different to make the situation easier, and vice versa. But I think no matter the obstacles or the journey, your child is the most important thing. And my son, like, he lights up when he sees his dad. Like, his dad is his everything. He loves his dad so much. And when we were not getting along and we were, trying to figure out the whole thing, my son was just like heartbroken. He's like, when am I going to see my dad? I want to be around my dad. I want to go visit my dad. And in my mind, I'm like, it's not a really good time. But my son was just so disappointed. And I was like, you know what? I don't care what I got to do, what I got to say, what I got to sacrifice. We're going to figure this thing out because I got to see my son happy.
Yeah, you can.
I have to.
Because they can feel everything.
And his dad is amazing. Like, no matter the man he was to me or the shit he did to me.
He's a great father. That's what
I know he'll lay down and die for his kid any moment. No questions asked. No questions asked. So it was important for me to like mend that relationship and get to a healthy point. And I'm so happy because it's like, I need a break. I love it. Like, go spend time with your dad.
Kids are
go spend time with your dad.
There are a lot of
What?
your
my
co-parenting dynamic.
Well, my shit is still kind of like crazy. Like, as of recent, like I feel like I've been co-parenting since like the conception of my daughter type shit. Like, we didn't try to like do like the court shit. And then, like, we did try to not do the court shit, and I don't know. And now, like, up to recently, like, we've been dealing with drama, and then with my child moving to a different state, like, we still trying to, like, figure out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah.
She moved?
Yeah, she just moved to Texas.
Why?
I guess more affordable living for her mom or whatever. But I definitely I want to strive to get to the place where Iman is at. I don't know.
Yeah.
My daughter is the most important thing. Whatever me and her mom got going on.
Right?
She's 4.
She's 7. So
yeah. So you got time to.
It takes time though.
It's crazy because I had a friend that actually told me that. Even when we were dealing with bullshit, when my daughter was 2, and then I had a friend he 2, try 7.
Yeah.
And his daughter was 7, and this was 2-3 years ago.
Yeah.
I don't know. I definitely feel in the future that we're gonna grow to be that strong co-parenting structure. But I just think it's gonna take a little time.
Yeah, and it's no time. It's no time limit because you have to allow people to mature and grow in their own way.
For sure. She's a little younger.
You can only do so much.
Exactly.
On your own.
It
takes 2.
And sometimes, as women, we need certain things from our child's father that make us feel secure in co-parenting. I needed to hear certain things from my son's dad that made me feel I could let go of all the hurt, the drama, the bullshit. That.
Sorry?
He was
accountable
for his actions. And not only that, but he was honest. We had to have a real honest conversation about the bullshit that we both contributed to. I think it's so hard to blame and poke.
Okay.
But if you really want to move on to a healthy space with anybody, friends, family, boyfriend, whatever, you gotta have an honest conversation about the shit that you've done. It's not always about what the other person has done to you.
You can't control if they're gonna be honest.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. You have to come together mutually.
But also,
we're gonna put everything on the table that's honest and real.
But what if they can't? Because some people can't.
Then
be
you
honest.
can't move on.
Oh, you can't.
There's a lot of people that don't.
You have to find a way though. And that's the thing is I'm not a parent, and I know that I can't imagine, and I know that that's something I know nothing about. But I do know that in AA, the way that they teach us is always worry about keeping your side of the street clean. Don't worry about them. When you make amends to people on the 9th step, I think, in the men's list, they could be the people that literally, they fucked your nigga, so you fucked her nigga, and I did it because you did it, but you can't mention that she fucked your nigga. You can't apologize and also bring up the fact that I reacted to what you did to me, because it doesn't matter if they even acknowledge that they fucked your nigga. You have to fucking acknowledge that you did wrong by her.
Case by case, that matters. But I think if you have children with somebody,
you would hope so.
That's a everlasting relationship. If you're dating somebody,
but what I took from what Nicole said is longest.
But sometimes people
go ahead.
But sometimes people. What if your baby daddy wasn't? What if you guys weren't as lucky to be able to have both people who were able to come to the table? What if
we haven't always been?
Yeah, but what if some people never have.
Yeah, but you just got to be pure on your end,
exactly.
Genuine on your end.
And that's my point: is that no matter what, you have to move forward for your child, and you do your part. You make amends on your part, and you keep your side of the street clean. And whatever they do, your child will see it for itself. And all you got to do is show up your best for your kid.
But then again, what Iman was saying, it's of course I'm gonna keep my streets on my side clean, but it's it's no way you gonna deal with this child without dealing with this child's mother or this child's father. It's a triangle for sure.
But you can't also as much as you deserve it, and sometimes most people you deserve it, but some people don't. But you deserve an apology or acknowledgement of what they did to you when you all were together. Some people will never give you that apology.
That's very true.
And it's also at the end of the day, if you're waiting around for that to happen in order for your child to have access to their other parent, because you need that parent to acknowledge what they did to you and validate what happened. Yeah. No, that's selfish. And I think at the end of the day,
that's selfish. Yes.
It doesn't matter if you get what you need from them, as long as your child gets what they need from them, and you have to make that happen whether you feel some type of way or not. And you're lucky if you have something.
For my final comments on the co-parenting thing, I want to get to a place where I'm in this, because I feel I need to hear some shit that that's gonna make it cool, because when we talk in private, I know you a good daddy. But on Instagram, on the story, you a bitch ass nigga. You don't do shit for your daughter. And it's don't do that.
Have different energy when it comes to social media versus
she needs a public apology or public,
and that's the type of shit that I be on. Even though I don't give a fuck about social media, that shit don't mean nothing. But it's just don't praise me in the dark and then try to shit on me in the light.
Don't even praise me, but don't try to fucking embarrass me in public when you know it's a lie. Don't lie on me.
When I ain't just helping my daughter, I'm helping you too.
And your daughter's gonna see this one day. Don't talk about me like this, and she gonna know you should.
And for it to affect the child, and we visually see it's affecting the child, for her to even say some shit hey, no arguing, mommy and daddy. Come on, bro.
Yeah, come on.
If you can't put the bullshit to the side for,
but you could do
better. Yeah.
But you don't have to entertain her bullshit.
For
and
sure.
the thing is, at the end of the day, no matter as much as she deserves to hear the shit from your mouth, if you don't entertain it, your daughter is going to grow up eventually and realize that her mom was the problem, and she's gonna look back and really appreciate
that's
that
like
you
where
never
I'm like
did
most
what her mom
confident
did.
at, because I don't give a fuck what my baby mama say about me or how she act.
She
Like
she's
my
really smart.
daughter know where it's
Her who her daddy is.
my
She
daughter
gonna
know
her
where it's
mom
at.
was
Hell
bigger.
yeah, my daddy
She
would do
gonna hate her
anything
for
for
it.
me. Like me and my for sure.
Sad.
Yeah.
So,
And hopefully she gets the
I'm
best. So she don't
confident
hate
there, so I don't really like too much stress. A lot of love and openness in the conversation.
Yeah, I'm proud of us. I had a great time. This was a good one.
I was gonna say
I'm trying to
something,
eat.
but
I'm
Nicole.
hungry. Girl, ain't no way.
Sit down fast.
I know.
We'll be back
Sorry.
next week, Nicole. Come on.
I mean, that's what I
We'll
said.
be back next week, y'all.
Thank you for
Subscribe
tuning
and
in.
like. Thank you
Yeah.
so much. And then also, I'm very proud of us for taking the chance and the time to
All right.
meet up
I
together.
love y'all.
Love you
Peace.
too. Bye.
I don't like her.
Yeah, bitch.
Yeah.
Out of here.
All right. Oh, let's press.
We're looking
We
for
voted somebody off the island.
Hey,
We're gonna leave Nicole. Take her.
Thank you.
Steps feeling no feelings. Last night it was a cold killing. You gotta keep the devil in his hole, nigga. But you know how it go, nigga. I'm front line every time it's on, nigga. 100 pro flow, running shoot pro, 458.